Okay, welcome to Girl Scouts of Montana and Wyoming's new leader orientation video. My name is Kelsey Nix. I am a staff member out of our Billings headquarters office, and I'll be leading you through the steps to become a troop leader. We're just going to jump right in. The first step to becoming a volunteer with Girl Scouts is to become a member. There's a number of ways you can do that, but the best option is to go on our website, as you can see right here, and click here to join button. That'll bring you to this web page that gives you a couple options. Again, online registration is recommended, especially in the fall. We do normally have a really sizable backlog of paper registrations, so please go through and register online if you can. However, if that doesn't work, you can also print out a form and turn it in by mail or turn it into your closest office. We do have some other paperwork steps you need to become a volunteer. We'll need you to fill out a volunteer application. You can do that online as well. The page looks like this. It should take you just a few minutes to fill out. And you can find that link from our website under this volunteer section on our website. We'll also need you to fill out a volunteer agreement. You can find it at that same volunteer section on the website. It looks like this. Again, just a few minutes to fill it out. And then finally, we also need you to complete a background check. The front page of the background check looks like this. It will lead you through it if you click on the Get Started button. You should get a link to this after you've filled out your volunteer application agreement. We have an auto-generated email that goes out with that information. If that doesn't come up, please contact your local staff member. We need background checks from our volunteers every 3 years. We also need volunteer agreements every year. So please make sure you're current on that if you are a volunteer. You can also find your staff member for your area on our website. If you go to Contact Options, it brings up a page and you can see Contact Us, and you can contact all of our staff. It gives you the address of our service centers right there, and you can call that number and be directed to your local staff member. All right, so again, paperwork, very important. Please get that taken care of. The first thing we are going to go over is the Girl Scout Promise and Law. This is the foundation of our movement, and it's also a really good idea to start off your troop meetings with this. It's a great way to do sort of a tradition that makes girls feel like they belong to a sisterhood, which Girl Scouts is. You recite both the promise and the law by holding up 3 fingers on your right hand and holding it close to your shoulder, and then reciting. If you have new girls, I recommend having one person recite and the other girls repeat. The next thing to know about is what age level your girls are in Girl Scouts. As you can see, we have a summary on the screen. Girls in kindergarten and first grade are daisies. Brownies are in second and third grade. Juniors are in grades 4 and 5. Cadets are all 3 grades in middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Seniors are in grades 9 and 10. And ambassadors are in grades 11 and 12. Please do note, if you have girls that are 5 and in pre-K, they are allowed to be Girl Scouts. We want anyone who's eligible and wants to join us. Next up, how often and how long you meet is up to you, your girls, and your parents. It's whatever works for your schedules. I would say the most common meeting schedule is every other week, although some troops do meet every week and some meet as irregularly as once a month. As the girls and Girl Scouts get older, they tend to meet less frequently. We recommend an hour or an hour and a half meeting, depending on how often you meet. Anything longer than that, and it's hard to keep girls' attention span. Anything shorter than that is really difficult to get through your activities. And you can meet at home, you can meet in churches and schools, community centers, any number of places. If you need assistance finding a location, please do contact your local staff member. And once you have your meeting schedule and location set, please let us know. We are tracking that information here. That way we can make sure that we are giving parents accurate information and that we know where you are when you're supposed to be. Next up, we are going to talk about finances for your troop. The first thing you'll need to do is establish a bank account as a new troop in terms of finances. This form is available on the website. It's also available on your troop flash drive that you should have gotten when you contacted your staff member. If you've not received a flash drive this year, please do get in touch. And this form is pretty easy. It's pretty self-explanatory. You need to turn this in at the beginning of each year. And when you're first establishing your account. So you turn this in to our finance department. Attention Terez, that's Terez, And then she will give you a letter for your bank letting you know that you are letting the bank know rather that you're a legitimate troop, and then you can get your account established. Once you do that, you'll notice there's also a box here requesting new startup money. If you're a new troop, you do get a $50 worth of startup funds from council. So please do turn this in. We want to make sure you're getting your funds, and we need to make sure we're keeping track of all of our bank accounts. That's for the IRS, not just our own amusement. It's very important. Next, at the end of each year, you'll also need to turn in an annual financial report that looks like this. This is also on your flash drive as well as our website. Basically, you just need to keep track of all your receipts for all the things you bought with your troop funds, and then make sure you're balancing your account. This is due June 30th of the current year. You can see that right here. And it gives you some income and expenses that you can help fill in. We do strongly recommend that you balance your account month to month. It's much easier to remember what those receipts are for if you've used them recently as opposed to 6 months ago. So please try and stay on top of that. Again, we need this information to be accurate for the IRS so we can keep our nonprofit status as a council. Next up, is a troop dues record. One of the ways your troop can gain some income when you're starting is to have the girls bring dues to each meeting, $1 or $2 per meeting per girl. It's a great way to bulk up your bank account, and it also gives the girls a head start in learning some financial literacy skills and some responsibility. It also helps them take a lot of ownership in their troop. So it is a good idea. And this is the form you can use to track that so you have a record of where the income is coming in. Finally, we do have financial assistance for girls that need it. These are available upon request from your staff member. 1 in 3 girls in the Girl Scout Montana Wyoming Council receive some form of financial assistance. The parent and guardian just need to write a brief statement and then fill out the info, and this can cover the girls' membership. They can cover their uniform and insignia, as well as program registration costs for applicable council programs. Basically things that are listed on this form right here is what it will cover. Once you fill that out, you just turn it in with the membership or your program registration form to your staff member, and then they will get it processed. If it's for a program, please make sure to give a couple of weeks of lead time before the program starts, as it does have to get processed through headquarters before your daughter or granddaughter can get registered. Next up, we're going to talk about some safety for girls. We have an extensive list of what are called safety activity checkpoints on the website. They're also in the Volunteer Essentials and on your flash drive, and those are specific safety standards for your troop activities. But the most basic level of safety for girls is knowing how many volunteers you need at a meeting. Each troop needs at least 2 unrelated adults at every meeting. And you can see we have differing standards based on the girls' age level of how many girls can be present with just those 2. For Daisies, our youngest girls, you can have 12 girls with 2 unrelated adults, and then 6 girls per each additional adult. For Brownies, the base number is 20, and then 8 more girls per additional adult. For Juniors, it's 25 girls and 10 more per each additional adult. Cadets, base number 25, 12 more per each additional adult. And Seniors and Ambassadors, it's 30 girls to start and 15 more girls per additional adult. So as you can see, as the girls get older, you can have a larger amount of girls per adult. This is what is the very basic requirements for safety, but we do have some recommendations on minimums as well. We want there to be enough girls in a troop for girls to get some social skills and have a lot of fun, and make sure it's a worthwhile experience. We do recommend 5 to 12 girls for Daisies, 10 to 20 girls for Brownies, 10 to 25 girls for Juniors, 5 to 25 girls for Cadets, and for Seniors and Ambassadors, we recommend 5 to 30 girls. Again, we want to make sure there's enough girls there that everyone's having a good time, you can do all the activities you want, all that sort of good stuff. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about the underlying structure of Girl Scouts. I personally find it useful to know our goals and our reasoning behind why Girl Scouts runs the way it does. So just a few minutes of this. So as you can see here, this is a leadership model. Girl Scouts is a girl leadership organization. That is our underlying goal, is to turn girls into leaders. And I personally like to start at the end, so we'll start here under long-term outcomes. And our long-term outcome is actually taken from our mission, Girl Scouts builds girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. That is our overall goal of having girls participate in Girl Scouts. Next up in the middle, we have short-term and intermediate outcomes, the specific skills, knowledge, attitudes, behaviors that girls gain. We will go in detail about the intermediate outcomes in just a few minutes. There are 15 of those, and we'll go over those. All right, on our left, we have the focus of Girl Scout activities. Those are also called the 3 keys: discover, connect, and take action. Girls discover themselves, their values and skills. They connect with other girls as well as their community, and they take action to make the world a better place. These are also known as the what of Girl Scouts, what we are doing when girls are in Girl Scouts, what we're working towards, what our activity should be based around. On the bottom left here, you have the Girl Scout processes, and these are the how of Girl Scouts, how we go about reaching our goals when we're in Girl Scouting. The first is girl-led. We want girls to play an active part in figuring out the what, when, where, how, and why of their activities. Of course, for younger girls, it might just be having them choose between a couple options, but as girls get older, they should be more and more involved, to the point where when you have middle and high schoolers, they should be close to running the meetings themselves, and you're just supervising. Next up, we have learning by doing. We want to make sure girls are doing hands-on, engaging activities. We want them to have fun. We want you to have fun. And finally, we have cooperative learning. Girls work together to learn new skills when they're doing their activities. It also gives them an opportunity to share their skills and knowledge with each other. All right, on to those intermediate outcomes I mentioned. So you can see here we have the 3 keys again: discover, connect, and take action equals leadership. And so for each of these keys, there are 5 outcomes to work towards. I think it's useful to know these. At the council level, it helps us do some quality control with our programming and some of our outreach troops. It also gives you something to organize yourself around. It's a good thing to keep in mind, in other words, when you're working on your actual troop meetings. So you can see the 5 keys for Discover are: girls develop a strong sense of self, develop positive values, gain practical life skills, seek challenges in the world, and develop critical thinking. The 5 Connect outcomes are: girls develop healthy relationships, promote cooperation and team building, can resolve conflicts, advance diversity in a multicultural world, and feel connected to their communities locally and globally. And finally, the 5 Take Action outcomes are: girls can identify community needs, girls are resourceful problem solvers, girls advocate for themselves and others locally and globally, girls educate and inspire others to act, and girls feel empowered to make a difference in the world. So really, between the 15 outcomes, you can categorize almost any activity under at least one of these. And it's really just a good idea to keep in mind of what we want to be working towards as you're planning activities. We want it to be a worthwhile experience for you and for the girls. All right. Next, we're going to talk just a little bit about our curriculum. There are sort of 2 main areas of curriculum. The biggest and most important one is called Journeys. Journeys are actually the core of Girl Scouts today. I'm sorry the image is a little blurry, but we'll talk about it anywho. Journeys in general are a little longer term. It's not uncommon for a journey to take a troop almost a year to complete. And there are 3 categories that all journeys are organized, and therefore there are 3 journeys that each age level can work on. And the categories are: It's Your Story, Tell It, which is about self-expression; It's Your World, Change It, which is about advocacy; and It's Your Planet, Love It, which is about the environment. And so you can see they're lined up on this grid here. This middle one is It's Your Planet, Love It, and there's an option at each age level, and they line up similarly on the other sides. And I did mention that journeys often take troops a longer amount of time. If you're interested, we do have something called a journey in a weekend that troops can take some lesson plans, and they can work through an entire journey in a weekend if they need to. Again, the journeys are the core of the Girl Scout leadership experience. If girls are going to earn highest awards, the bronze, silver, and gold award, they have to complete journeys. It's also they're also useful because these are a national curriculum. That means girls across the country are getting consistent activities and learning consistent things. And they're a great way to start out as a troop if you just don't know where to jump in and have no idea where to pick up and go from. This gives you a topic to organize yourself around. Keep in mind with the journeys and the badges, which we will talk about in a moment, it is the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law, that matters. And what that means is that these are just a guide. They're very flexible, and you can customize them to what you want to do. So for example, in the brownies, we have this big WOW journey, which stands for Wonders of Water. And that means in the journey, the girls learn about conservation, they learn about the water cycle, they do a bunch of awesome water science experiments. It's really fun. And all of them actually come with sample lesson plans, but you do not have to follow those. Anything that falls under the umbrella of learning about water would be applicable to Wonders of Water. So please keep that in mind. They're just suggestions. You do not have to follow exactly what's laid out in the journeys. Again, it's girl-led. We want it to be what your girls are interested in and what you are interested in. The other component of our curriculum are the Girls' Guides to Girl Scouting. And these are where you find things like the Girls' Handbook, as well as some activities. And they also include badges, which are a really good way to keep girls interested if you're working through a journey. They do not take nearly as long to complete, and so they get some positive reinforcement along the way and earning these and get awards without having to wait an entire year. You can work on the badges separately, but they are designed to go with the journeys. I'm going to zoom in a little here and hopefully it won't get too blurry. So you can see daisies actually don't earn badges. They earn petals and leaves. Those correspond to parts of the Girl Scout law. But once you hit brownie levels, there are tons of badges to earn. On the right side of all these diagrams, you can see what are called legacy badges here, as well as financial literacy and cookie business badges. And then there are extended sets of 15 badges that go along with the journey. So you can see these 5 badges go with Brownie Quest. These 5 badges go with Wonders of Water. I'm going to zoom in again just so that it's a little easier to see. Whew, too far. Okay, so you can see Potter, Household Elf, Migrate Day, Senses, and Hiker are designed to go with the Wonders of Water journey. And then there's also 5 badges for World of Girls. And it's the same with each age level. They are designed to go hand in hand with your journey. So please keep that in mind. They're a lot of fun. It's easy to do a badge in, depending on how long your meetings are, a meeting or 2. So they're a great way to keep girls interested as you're working throughout your year. All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about troop management, which is really just what it sounds like, how to go about managing and running your troop. There are a lot of tips on getting started and how to structure your meetings, all that kind of jazz in your Volunteer Essentials, which you can find on the website and again on your flash drive. Again, if you have not received a flash drive and you're a troop leader, please contact your local staff member. The first troop management tip I have for you is to do a group agreement at the first meeting. And it's just what it sounds like. You and the girls come up with rules that you and the girls are going to follow during your meetings. And then you and the girls all sign it. And that gives the girls some ownership in your behavior, as well as feeling like they were part of the process. It also helps you manage their behavior because you have something to refer back to if they're misbehaving. And again, in this process, you can feel free to suggest things if the girls aren't coming up with some areas you want to make sure and touch on. With older girls, for example, you might want to make sure and mention cell phone use. But don't just have you talking about the rules. Definitely let the girls make some suggestions. They're generally come up with some really good ones. They might surprise you. So please make sure to include the girls in that process. Next up is to make sure you set consequences and stick to them for misbehaving girls. And by that, I mean what to do if the girls are misbehaving. And so one thing we use at some of our outreach troops here at Council is the first step is the girls gets taken aside and talked to. The second step, the girl has to sit out for a few minutes. And the third level of consequences that they have to sit out for the rest of the meeting and or the next meeting. I've never had a girl that had to sit out for a whole meeting. Try as much as you can to apply those evenly to the girls, of course. And of course, Girl Scouts does not condone corporal punishment in any form. Another good way to keep control of things at the meeting is to decide on a quiet sign. I would recommend 2 actually, a hand signal as well as a chant sort of call and repeat. A hand signal A lot of troops make the Girl Scout sign. Again, that's 3 fingers, and hold it up in the air. And when the girls see you do that, they make the sign as well, and also get quiet and wait for everyone to quiet down before you move on. You could also just raise your hand and do that. Those are good if you're indoors or the girls aren't too rambunctious. But if they are outside and about or getting really loud, this is why I recommend having a vocal quiet sign. And there's a number of things you can do. You can count down from 5 and have the girls chime in when you hit 5, or rather 1. Everybody's quiet before you start again. You could also do one where the leaders say, hey, hey, and the girls say, ho, ho, back. That's actually my personal favorite. There's a number of ways you can do that, but it's, again, a good idea to have a verbal one if the girls are pretty loud. My next tip, especially if you meet right after school, we recommend starting with a physical game of some kind. It'll help you girls burn off some of their excess energy when they release from school, and help them focus. Just 10 to 15 minutes of some kind of physical game really can help smooth things over. And finally, my last tip is for mixed age troops, and that's just what it sounds like if there's a couple different age levels in one troop. There's a couple ways you can organize your meetings. If you have enough adults in your troop, this might be the best way to go, is simply just split up the girls when you're working on curriculum. Do your opening and any fun activities together, but if you're working on Journey and Badges, split into corresponding age groups and work on those separately. Another way, you can also have everyone do all your activities together. You need to make sure if you're doing that you're hitting all the steps for the girls to earn their pedals and badges. But there's no reason that the girls can't do all of each other's activities within reason, developmentally speaking, as long as the girls end up with the correct badges and pedals at the end. You never want to give a Daisy a brownie badge, for example, or vice versa. And again, keep in mind that only works for close age groups. You don't want to be doing all the same activities with middle schoolers and kindergartners, for example. That would not work. The girls are just going to get frustrated on either end. So I mentioned some parent involvement, and that's the next thing we're going to talk about. A lot of our troops have had some troubles getting parents involved. The best way to get your parents involved, if you can, is to have a parent register with each girl in your troop right away. That way they're set for the year, because if a parent wants to run a cookie booth, if they want to drive girls to an event other than their own daughter, if they want to hang out at troop meetings, they need to be registered. That's for their own benefit. They become a member, which means they get covered under Girl Scout insurance. It's also for the girls' safety, so please keep that in mind. However, it doesn't always go perfectly, and so some people don't get registered immediately. There are some other ways to get parents involved. One way is to work in a committee format in your troop, and then lead your troop with a number of parents and have, each parent take on 2 troop meetings out of the year, for example. Another good tactic is to have specific tasks you need parents to help you with. It's a lot easier to get somebody to say yes if they are just doing one specific thing and they know that it's a short time commitment. It's really easy to say no if you just sort of vaguely say you need help, because parents can come up with a lot of excuses about not having enough time. But if you say, hey, I need you to be a chaperone for 2 hours this coming Saturday, or I need you to be bringing snacks to these 2 meetings, it's a lot harder to say no when they realize it's 4 hours total of their life in a year. And this hand up I have out on screen gives you some ways that parents might be involved in your troop. This is also on your flash drive on the website. These are just some common ways that parents might be involved. They maybe attend troop meetings. Maybe they work with your troop on a special skill like knitting or archery. They could be a troop treasurer or be a troop cookie mom or dad. This actually, being a product sales manager for your troop, is the first thing I would try to fill with a parent. It's much easier to make it through the fall sale and the cookie sale if you have somebody else to help work out all the logistics. And there's other ways you can see they coordinate chores and snacks. A good idea that you might want to have fill is somebody be info coordinator or a secretary, and have that person be responsible for passing information out to the rest of the troop. That also tends to take a lot of time. And there are, of course, other ways that you might have parents help with you. This is just a good idea of where to start. All right, I have a couple more things to go over and then we will be done. The first is the Girl Scout calendar. This sheet gives you some ideas of various cross Girl Scout events happening throughout the year. You can see in August, the product sales people will receive their info. September is when we recruit and we do a lot of training. The Girl Scout year officially begins on the 1st, as well as October 31st being Founders Day, aka Juliette Gordon Lowe's birthday, and then so on and so forth throughout the year. This is a really good idea to look at this so you know what's going on in Girl Scouts as a whole, and it also gives you some ideas of ways you could integrate Girl Scout traditions into your troop meetings based on what events are going on. So please take a look. And then our last document is the new leader orientation checklist. And so this checklist is just what it sounds like. It's a checklist of things you might need to know to be a troop leader. And ideally you would go over this with your local staff member, but I'm including it in the documents regardless, so that way you can see some of the things that might be expected for you to go over, and you can see what you need to know. Again, all these files are available on the website or your flash drive. They should be up with the video on the website as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to talk to your staff members. We have tons of ways we can help. We can help you with the logistics of finding somewhere to meet. We can make sure you have all your contact info from your parents, as well as ideas of what you can do in your troop meeting, what's going on, who are other volunteers in the area, all that kind of stuff. We are here to help you, but we can't help you unless you talk to us first. There's no way for us to know you need help without you getting in touch. So please do that. Again, the contact info is up on the website. And thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.